Hi and welcome back. So I got a question from Amil Abdullah on my video on the summary of my blood glucose levels, what was causing my blood glucose levels. You can see that in my playlist if you want to sort of get some back history. So I'll ask a couple of questions about the video, and I thought I've replied directly to Amal, but I thought I'd also make a video explaining and maybe in a little bit more depth of what I'm doing and what I'm trying to say. So basically Amal says this is a really useful video. Reducing the fasting surge is the gold standard in my opinion to how much diabetes is managed. Just a quick question please. Okay, and then he goes on. Then Amal goes on to ask some questions. Okay, so the first question is were those fruit days mixed with veg? Now, on fruit days, I'm only eating fruit. Okay, that's it. It's all day, and my breakfast, lunch, dinner, and any other meal, they're all fruit-based meals. So I'm not having any cooked or veg meals. Now, I think there's a bit of an issue with that, in the sense that I would like to introduce more greens into my meals. But the problem is that I have a logistic issue, mainly to do with storage. I can't store enough food and the varieties of food, so I have to sort of limit myself to the things that I can keep, mainly things that I can keep that don't require refrigeration, so that my diet is mainly around that, because my fridge is packed. There's not much more I can put into it, so I'd like to be able to have introduce more greens. I think having more greens in the meals throughout the day would certainly help manage the blood glucose level spikes, but I don't have that facility at this point in time, but certainly down the track I want to add more greens to my diet. So the next question that Amal asks is, in the same evening meal, now I'm not exactly sure what that means, but basically I think it goes back to what I said before. On fruit days I'm only eating fruit, and on those days where I am having a cooked meal, that's an evening cooked meal. So therefore my diet, you could call it a raw to 4. So I'll eat raw fruit up until about 4 o'clock, and then once the evening kicks in and that, I'll be eating a cooked meal, and that'll be that. How is your sugar doing on mono fruit meal? Okay, now when I have all fruits, whether it be mono meals or mixed fruit meals, my blood sugar stays basically the same. It fluctuates a little bit, but there aren't radical spikes. If I introduce cooked food, I get a radical spike, whereas on the fruit I don't really get. I have to eat much more fruit to be able to get a spike than I would with cooked food. And then Amal asks about exercise. Now, exercise, I could make a whole bunch of videos on exercise and the benefit to the person suffering from diabetes. The reason why we've got diabetes is because we're all chubby. We've all let ourselves go, and we've become obese over time. Various levels of obesity will trigger the diabetes, but nonetheless, that's the trigger point. So one of the key factors of helping to reduce the insulin spike or the blood glucose spikes is to exercise. As soon as you exercise, and I mean like properly exercise, not going for a stroll, but really exercising hard, about half an hour after you've eaten, you'll reduce your blood glucose levels dramatically. And for me, I can bring it right back down to the normal range. So exercising is a great thing. Now, when I first discovered the idea of exercise and controlling my blood glucose, I used to exercise after every meal, but I realised after a month or so that I just couldn't sustain that, because I was spending all my day either eating or exercising, and I really wasn't being able to get on with my day. So it made it very difficult. So I had to make some decisions about what I was going to do, and it all ties back into why we're diabetic, because we've let ourselves go, we've become fat, and our bodies, particularly our lean muscle mass, just isn't particularly valuable, and it's the lesser part of our body, and it's not really functioning well. So I've cut back the amount of exercise that I do, but I do my exercise in the late afternoon around about 3 o'clock. And the reason why I do that is because I've found that over the course of the day, my blood glucose level slowly inches higher. So I find that around about the 3 o'clock, about that slump time in the afternoon, when people get that afternoon slump, that's when my blood glucose levels are at its highest. as most people, all people that are suffering the afternoon slump. So what I find is that I will, if I wait till around about 3 o'clock mark and then go and burn about 400 or so calories, I do exercise that's worth around about 400 calories, then my blood glucose comes back down to normal ranges and everything's okay. So moving forward, my plan really is to eat as many carbs in the morning, so a large carb meal in the morning for my breakfast, a smaller carb meal for lunch, and a rather small meal for dinner, and preferably going to bed, slightly hungry, like a little bit hungry-ish, but not too hungry, and then waking up with a lower blood glucose level over time, but also maintaining that 3 o'clock exercise. So far, the way I'm doing it at the moment, my meals are sort of all over the place in the way of amounts of calories that I'm eating in each meal, but that 4 o'clock exercise makes a huge difference to my general well-being throughout the day and how I feel, and also whether I feel tired, and where my blood glucose level is, and also where my fasting blood glucose level is in the morning. So that's how that's working for me. Okay, and then goes on to ask, when do you exercise in relation to the meal? Again, if you're going to exercise about 20 minutes, 30 minutes after you eat. So give it enough time for that for that sugar to hit your blood. Once it's in your blood and circulating in your blood, that's when you want to exercise. You want to be able to get it into those cells as fast as possible. And exercising is the best way to resensitize your insulin receptors on your cells. Okay, and over time, as you rebuild your body from that obese state that you're in, and you start rebuilding your body over many years, it's going to take years, you'll slowly rebuild your body. The new cells will regenerate, and they should regenerate with functioning insulin receptors. So whilst in the short term we can manage our diabetes, in the long term the best way to manage the diabetes is by rebuilding your body with a physically fit body. Okay, so people that are suffering from diabetes and the ups and downs and the swings and that, the managing it through the diet is a short-term solution, but the long-term solution is rebuilding your body. You still need to maintain a proper diet going forward, but you've got to rebuild that body, and that's in the process that I'm doing. So I'm about a third of the way into my rebuilding. It takes about 300 hours. Of exercise to rebuild your cardio system, and then from there on it's just a matter waiting for the cells to regenerate. Once you've got enough cells regenerated in your body, cells last for about 7 years. Once they regenerate, they obviously don't regenerate all at the same time, but as more and more cells regenerate, you get more and more cells that are functioning properly, and therefore your blood glucose will start to get under control in a much more permanent and sustainable manner. So that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, please post them below, and I'll answer them either directly or as in this case, I'll do a video. So take care. Bye.